Hey guys, Rick here from the Foltz Bailey Model Railroad. A little while ago, I had made you a promise and told you that I was transitioning over. Well, not transitioning over, but throwing my hand into some wood kits. Well, I got a couple that I bought from FOS Scale models, and I've got two of those kits that I've already built. One of them I'm going to show you now. One of them I already did. Wasn't that big of a project, but I'll show it to you at the end. Let's go over the workbench and I'll show you what I got. All right, gang, this one's going to be a voiceover because I was just chugging along making this kit. This here's a kit from FOS Scale models called Martens Garage. Let's open it up and see what they got in here. They give you a full template. All you have to do is build your parts on top of that. And the parts that are in the little plastic bag, you get some acetate windows. A piece of paper used for roofing, a set of windows, the door and the door hinge, I guess. Those two pieces of cardboard right there are the roof. That's where they go. And that's your building right there. It comes in 5 pieces. That middle piece in the center there is that piece that goes on the back of the roof. I'm going to put this all together with some tacky glue. Some Aleene's tacky glue. Here you're going to see me put in some of the bracing according to the diagram, and this is just in place so that when you paint the model or weather the model, if you're using some sort of stain, that it doesn't buckle up on you. Now you can see I'm putting these pieces in while the building is still attached to, I don't know what you would call that, the sprue. The next time I do one of these models, I'm not going to do that. I found out that some of the glue got onto the sprue part of it, and it glued the bracing down, and I had a little tough time getting it back off. So especially those pieces on the end, which I left a little long so that I could actually chop the angle correctly once I got it off the sprue. Yeah, that was a pain. All right, all the bracing is on. Here you can see I'm painting all of the trim. The trim for the building is green. These are really small sections. I couldn't show you me actually painting them, not that you could have seen them. But I had to keep them real close to me and out of camera view in order to get it done. So I went with a color here that on camera looks white, but it's got more of a yellowish tint. It's actually called antique white. So that went on a really thin coat. You can actually see through it. It was kind of transparent. So all the outer walls got that color. And here you can see I'm starting on that is a plastic door. It's not metal or wood. It was all made of plastic. And then there's some sort of frame that door goes in. Painting that the same color also. And now what you see is I'm putting on a very light brown wash. And I just kind of covered the building with it. And what I did was I made sure that I got more in some places and less in others. And then I made sure that I stood it up when it dried so that all that water could kind of like drip and stay in all those little cracks and crevices, just as if it was a standing building, around today. I was afraid if I left it flat, then, it would have just pooled where it sat rather than being realistic. So this wasn't a part of the plans, but what I did is I split these two doors once I got them off the sprue, and you'll see why later. I thought this was a really cool touch. Here you see I tried that technique of glazing the windows, and what you see I'm doing here is actually poking some of those windows out so they look like broken glass. Here I'm gluing in one of those doors to the frame. Nice fit. And now the windows are getting glued into the sides. Now the building's coming together. There's 2 walls. Three walls. And of course the front. Now what you don't see here is I actually took the building and I put a rubber band around it to try and keep it stable and tight while it dried up. Or yeah, while the glue dried. And here you can see there's that rubber band that I actually used once it was dry to get that back piece in place. There's those windows. And there's the front. You can kind of see there's like glass missing in the doors and the windows. And now it's time to do the trim. Now, according to the instructions, and yes, I did read the instructions, it says to put the trim on now for the roof. And these pieces are on that diagram. You can see me cutting them out exactly as they lay. But honestly, I think the next time I build a building like this, I'm actually going to put the trim on after the roof is done, because you'll see there's going to be some gaps. This here is my my homemade stain. It's more of an aging solution rather than a stain. It actually turns the wood an aged color, more or less than giving it an actual color. Here I'm cutting just some black construction paper that I'm going to use for the roof material, and just cutting these into strips as they fit the same size of that cardboard that's used for the roof. And what I did here is just placed each individual piece, one overlapping the other, going up the roof, and just make sure I had enough glue. And you don't have to be too careful with this, because when the glue, you'll see in a minute, when the glue dries, it actually has like a clear, almost glossy finish. And if you've ever done a roof, a paper roof, either in the city or even in the suburbs, you'll know that the tar that comes out afterwards has that kind of glossy finish, so it kind of fits. So there's the big roof done, and then there's the little roof done, and they just need to dry now. So here you can see there's that glossy finish, and it looks like tar. So here you can see I'm putting those trim pieces on now that I had cut earlier. And now the roof's going to get attached. Now this just kind of sits up there. And it got a little awkward because I also got to glue the other one on, but that one is on a slant. So I had to go back to my rubber band for the front and just weighted down the back. Now these I also got from FOS Scale models, but they didn't come with the kit. These are 55-gallon drums that were injection molded. These trash cans here are actually resin printed. So everything gets a good coat of primer. And then after the primer dried up, I actually wound up putting on a silver paint first. And then here you're seeing me use a sponge to just dab on in various places some brown paint, just to kind of give the texture of some rust, as if that can or that trash can or drum was sitting out in the elements for such a long time. And now we leave that to dry. Here, the next setting of instructions was putting on the pieces of the what would have been like the roof overhang underneath the easement. Here I actually spilled some of that stain on the table, and I just put those little tiny pieces in there before I glued them in. Here's where that other door comes in, and I wanted this one to sit off of I wanted to have the appearance of being open, so I just kind of glued it in place and let it sit, and there you can see there's those little 2x6s that kind of poke out from the building to give you the illusion that there's actually 2x6s under there. Here I switched over to using crazy glue and some activator to get these trash cans glued up. It really wasn't working too well with the Aleenes. I don't know if it's the plastic being put to wood, but they just wouldn't stick. So just went with crazy glue. And here what I'm doing is a finishing touch on the roof. I use a fine point Sharpie pen just to draw in those lines where the paper comes off. And again, it just gives it a little definition, kind of gives it maybe like a watery look, or even maybe some tar seeping out from under each piece. You can also use the Sharpie pen to make some bubbles to make it look like there's a watery, stain or something there. Here I'm doing some weathering, some black underneath the roof, underneath the windows. Definitely some heavy dirt there, next to the trash cans and the oil, 55-gallon drums. I think I used 3 colors here. The first one that I'm doing now is black. Kind of just gives it a grimy look. Going darker in some places and lighter in others. And then the second color that's coming up here is actually a dark earth. And I just use these to go around the bottom, kind of simulate some mud kicked up on the building. Then once I did the dark earth, I came back over it with some light earth. It's just a lighter brown, just to give it the illusions of some old dirt and some new dirt, or maybe some new mud. And then, of course, you got to dirty up the roof and make that look weathered also. All right, gang, you've seen it all. We went from paint to roof to weather. But wait, there's more. Let's go take a look at the workbench. All right, so here's the building. You can see the windows are in. You guys were here for all that. Trash cans are in. The weathering's done. I think the paint looks great. But whose building could this be? There's a sign on it. Why, this is Grandpa Dilley's Import and Domestic Automotive Shop. I'm kind of thinking this building is going to be a part of a bigger part of the layout. I'm thinking maybe making it part of like a junkyard or something, just to give it a bigger footprint. As I mentioned before, this is not the first wood kit that I have built. I'm not sure if you remember, but I built this Craftsman kit, this little bridge for the N-Scale coffee table. That was, I don't know, a year ago or so. And then when I got these FOS Scale models, they had a kit that was a pair of sheds. So I picked these guys up. They're just little tiny sheds, 2 come in a pack. Really cute, nice windows. The whole roof thing is on there. This one's got a closed door. This one's got an open door. So they were really, really cool to do. I do have another wood kit that we'll get on the workbench soon, and then maybe back to some plastic or onto something else. But until then, there is a playlist over here that you guys should check out. And there's a cool video right down there. And then right below me, there's a subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to get all the notifications for the next video. And always, thumbs up. See you later.